Andrew, that condition is hepatitis C, a viral infection that is common among IV drug users. Some new drugs are effective at treating hep C, but they are also very expensive, up to $70,000 per year or more for a single patient. Many hep C patients are low income, so Medicaid covers their drugs, and that cost is skyrocketing. Chef Dean Gress says he never used drugs, but he still became infected with hepatitis C. He's pretty certain he got the virus in the early 1980s as a young Marine getting a tattoo. You weren't too concerned about the cleanliness of the needles back then, probably.
I don't even think I was completely sober.
It took a decade before he started having symptoms.
You just walk around kind of like you have the flu all the time.
He tried different treatments, but they were ineffective. Like other hep C patients, he faced a grim future. Dr. Kapil Chopra heads the UPMC Center for Liver Diseases.
Some patients had increased risk for cancer of the liver, and it's fair to say that some patients with hepatitis C, cirrhosis, and liver cancer will ultimately require a liver transplant.
All that changed with the discovery of new drugs in the past few years that can actually cure hepatitis C.
The effectiveness is amazing.
Dean started taking one of those drugs last year. He says he is cured. How did it make you feel?
A dramatic change in energy. I was like, oh, this is nice. I'm not falling asleep on the couch at 8 o'clock at night.
Dean, who works at a downtown hotel, had to fight his insurance company to pay for the drug.
It would have been $200,000 out of my pocket.
For many people without private insurance, Medicaid is covering the cost of those new drugs, and that cost is soaring. Records obtained by Action News Investigates show hep C drugs cost Pennsylvania taxpayers $33 million in 2013. By last year, that price tag reached a whopping $219 million for just 3,000 patients. That's $73,000 per patient. But the pharmaceutical industry says the real cost is less because companies have given significant rebates to Pennsylvania and other states. An industry spokesperson says within a year of the introduction of the first major breakthrough hepatitis C treatment, multiple competitors had entered the marketplace, enabling state Medicaid programs to negotiate deep discounts on top of the already mandated rebates. Human Services Secretary Ted Dallas oversees Medicaid.
The biggest issue with hepatitis C are the cost of those drugs.
And the opioid crisis is driving up the number of hep C patients.
The more IV drug use we have, the more concerned we are that we're going to see increases and people passing them from one person to the other.
In just 1 year, the number of hepatitis C patients in Allegheny County nearly doubled, from 1,248 to 2,123, though some of that increase is due to more testing for the virus. It's not just people on Medicaid getting tax dollars for hepatitis C treatments. More than 5,000 state prisoners are also having their hep C treatments covered by the taxpayers. And those costs have also been soaring. From $209,000 in 2015 to $6.8 million just 1 year later. And the cost is expected to continue growing after convicted cop killer Mumia Abu-Jamal won a lawsuit forcing the state to pay for his hep C treatments. Still, some say the state is being too stingy when it comes to doling out these expensive meds. Currently, Medicaid does not allow them for patients in the early stages of the disease. An advisory group says that should change. Susanna Masardis heads the Community Liver Alliance, which supports greater use of the drugs.
People should not have to become more sick if we have a cure for a virus. What other disease do you know where there's a cure that people have to become more sick?
She says delaying treatment could end up being even more expensive.
It could lead to the need for a liver transplant, which is way more costly than the cost of a cure.
Secretary Dallas says more people could be treated if drug companies brought down the cost.
I understand that drug companies have patents and they have a right to make money, but when you look at the outrageous cost of providing those services, there has to be some relief from that.
Now, the pharmaceutical industry trade group tells me they are working to lower costs.